Hey everyone, SimFanatic here, and today we'll be unboxing and taking a first look at something I've been seriously excited about, the brand new WINWING PAP 3, or Panel of Autopilot 3. Now it's designed specifically for the PMDG 737 series of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but thanks to support for third-party tools like MobiFlight and future updates, it'll work with other aircraft too. Now, if you fly the 737 as much as I do, this could be the ultimate upgrade for your home cockpit, friends. So let's dive in. Okay, let's break down the tech and the tactile side of things. Now, with this unit, you've got 17 push-button switches with a satisfying 3mm travel. As you can see here, it has 5 rotary knobs. Now, this has a smooth 360-degree motion, just like in the jet, and there are no detents in these. It also has a realistic vertical speed thumb wheel with optical encoder, and get this, WinWing added in acceleration model for precise input based on how fast you spin this thing. Same thing goes for the rotary knobs. Now that's attention to detail, friends. And I love this. It even includes a disengage switch for the autopilot that's built in with a custom internal structure. Now not just a re-skin toggle switch, but something made to feel absolutely premium and realistic. Now here's an amazing addition to this thing, the auto throttle arm switch. Now one thing to note, the auto throttle arm switch that comes standard is a spring-loaded manual toggle. But if you want to go full realism, WinWing sells an optional auto throttle magnetic switch, or they call it an AT mag switch, which adds automatic detent behavior, electromagnetic hold, and even disengaged logic sync to the sim. Very cool upgrade option for those wanting a full real-world experience. But even this auto throttle that comes with the standard edition does come back down automatically, so you don't have to have the magnetic version, and that actually makes sense even with the standard edition, so be aware of that the auto throttle arm switch will come back down, but it does engage, and then if you disengage it by the auto throttle disengage button, you'll be good to go because you don't have to worry about toggling that switch down. Now let's talk about the modular design. Now if you're building a modular setup, the PAP 3 is a desktop friendly, but it also works with profile mount, so you can fully integrate this with your sim rig. It's part of WinWing's growing lineup of independent but connectable modules like their MCDU and EFIS systems. Another nice feature of this unit, it has realistic same color display, which is compatible with other wide-body aircraft such as the PMDG 777 and Microsoft Flight Simulator. And how about this? It also has dual color button backlight, which replicates precise lighting feedback in both the game and in real world with the unit. Also, an adjustable multi-panel backlighting, which gives seamless game sync support, and I love the fact that you can change the control in your virtual cockpit and it'll reflect in this unit. Nice touch. As mentioned before, with the standard unit, you'll get the standard switch, which you'll manually turn on and automatically resets to off position for smooth operation. But however, you can get an interchangeable magnetic switch, as you can see on the right, for your auto throttle. Now, the difference is this will automatically switch off when you disengage the auto throttle. So if you have that set to typically your controller or your throttle, you'll automatically see that magnetic switch pop down when you disengage the auto throttle. No need to actually touch that switch or push it down. Now I'll add that these switches are interchangeable. They're modular, so you can pull out the standard switch and buy this magnetic switch. Right now it's $52.45 US, and it looks really easy to install. I might have to get a hold of one of those from WinWing. Another nice touch is the built-in native glare shield that comes with this unit, and it ensures a realistic hand operation feel. It actually does add to the effect. As for the interface, as you can see here, like all the WinWing products, it will interface with your PC using a USB-C provided cable that comes with the unit, and it is plug and play as long as you have the WinAppPro version 1.16.40. It will work out of the box. As like their FC unit and EFIS units for the Airbus, well, the PAP 3 will have EFIS units as well. So you get these independent modules that have different functions that can be added on to the PAP 3 later. Now again, as for compatibility with aircraft, the PAP 3 is tailored for the PMDG 737. It works with the 600, the 700, the 800, and 900 variants, but it also supports the PMDG 777. And that's just the beginning, friends. WinWing is rolling out progressive compatibility updates for other aircraft, It even plays nice with the MobiFlight third-party edition, so the community will definitely have a field day customizing this thing and making it work with other aircraft as well. All right, friends, now let's go ahead and check out the unboxing of this unit as well as the setup and it in action. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and do this unboxing, and we got a box within a box here. And we're going to go ahead and pull this out. So as most of their stuff, very well packaged. So we've got of course, a USB-C cable with the 90-degree angle on it. We've got, as typical, we've got a bunch of bolts, an Allen wrench, and a regular wrench for assembly. And we've got, as the other ones, we have some feet to go on the bottom of the unit to keep the unit from slipping. Now, we're saying that you can, WinWing does have a desktop mount kit that you can get. This will have the feet. So as you can see here, like their FCU and EFIS units. There it is. And of course, we have our card for authenticity, and it's been inspected. Again, great padding. And here is the unit itself. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Lots of padding. I love that fact. I really, really like how they package their stuff. It is very well packaged. Sometimes too well, and I can't even get into it. And the big reveal is, there it is, friends. Let's take a look. And it actually, you can connect units on the side for your first officer and your captain area there. And just like with the Airbus type with the EFIS, there are modules that will connect to this PAP3 for the Boeing. And we have a cable here that's plugged in, and there's another connector. As usual, we have two USB. We have power only USB-C port and a regular USB-C. Do plug it into this one, not the power only. If you plug it into the power only, it won't work, as some of you, I think, have found out the hard way. So let's take a look at this unit. So first of all, let's talk about the molded design. So this is all full 1x1. The full structure is molded 1x1. So this is just like in real life, as you'd find in the aircraft. We also have 17 push button switches throughout this whole thing. And so you can see we've got the command for the autopilot disengage. Oh, I like this too. That switch, and it's also got the color coded there, so you know it's off and on. That's very nice. We do have the flight director metal switches. We've got the auto throttle arm and disarm. And so we also have 5 rotary knobs, rotation of 360 degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So obviously you have your course knob, you have your heading knob, heading dial with a switch that can switch it between 10 and 30, which is nice. So at a time when you're going through this, it can run through that. Your altitude, set that. And then of course your course over here for your first officer. We also have the vertical speed. All this has tactile response and feedback, which I love. The flight director switches, I love that those are metal. The other thing, it has this built-in glare shield, just like real life. You see that. So you got a real life like glare shield. All of this. So it kind of helps to get the microphone right up there, but you get all that sound, that tactile feedback, which is wonderful. So you don't even need it simulated in the simulator with the sounds. The other thing I want to talk about is it has dual color button backlight. Now we'll take a look at that later once I get it hooked up, but it does do the color within the cockpit. So you get real world lighting feedback. It does have the multi-panel adjustable backlighting. And then they also have like I mentioned, they have a desktop mounting option like their PFP and McDo panels have, where it actually will bolt onto here and connect it to the desktop. We're gonna just do like we do with our FCU and EFIS. We'll just use the mounts there. We get those put together. And this all runs with SimAppPro, plug and play, no manual settings required. You plug it in. Important thing is you do need to have it running before you start your sim. That's a SimAppPro, otherwise the bridging software won't work and you will get a lot of nothing from that. Okay, here we've got the PAP 3 connected, again by USB-C on the back of the device. You can see it's all lit up here, and here's our WINWING SimAppPro, and you can see it's over here on the left. We go in here and we just click on it. Now we get a test, which is nice. You can calibrate it, you can do the firmware update. You can see here if I'm moving this dial, you're gonna see this moving, and you can see that lights up, as well as any of the others like the auto throttle. You see the auto throttle work, basically all these. So this is a SimApp software. This is what I use to bridge it with Microsoft Flight Simulator. One important thing to note for the PAP 3 to work, and I found this out rather quickly, is you need to make sure you click on the little gear there and make sure that you are at version, right there, version 1.16.40. If you don't have it at that version, it will not work with your simulator. All right, but it will work for the SimAppPro test software, but you have to have that version of SimAppPro or later for this to connect to your simulator and the PMDG 737 and 777 aircraft. Another thing I'd like to show is this environment check. This is great. So you want to make sure before you even start you want to make sure that this is launched before you launch your simulator. So SimAppPro needs to be fully loaded and working. And I would even go in here and verify that this is green, because if that's not green and everything there isn't green, it will not work right with your simulator. So there's a bunch of stuff there. So that's a nice little test to make sure everything works. And then I'm going to go ahead and start Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And we're going to take a look at this, and you'll see it change if you go to game launching phase. It's kind of nice. So now I can hit game launching phase, and this is in red, and this will go green as soon as the simulator boots up. Of course, as we know, simulator can take a while to boot, especially if you have a lot of add-ons. So I've got Microsoft Flight Simulator loading. So it shows here the game platform startup, library startup. As the simulator, as you can see behind that window, is launching. All right, so now you can see that the game's loading in the background. And now we have the WWT stream, all that's in green. The sim logic is loading, base game variables are registered. And we've got green, and that's still progressing. Once the simulator fully loads, then this should all be green on that second phase. And then the third phase will come when you actually launch into one of the PMDG aircraft. Another thing I want to point out is, for those of you that have the Airbus, the WINWING, FCU, and EFIS, when you launch a simulator, at this point, this would all be off on the FCU and the EFIS for the Airbus. However, for the PAP 3 for the Boeing, you can see the lights are still on. So that kind of threw me off. Now we got all of them in green there. These don't actually, for the PAP 3 unit, the lights don't turn off actually until you get the aircraft loaded. For those of you that have the Airbus, FCU, and EFIS, that'll throw you off maybe originally, but don't worry. As long as you have the latest version of the SimAppPro, once you launch into the simulator and once you get the plane loaded, those lights should turn off and be ready to go. Okay, now you can see we're in the hangar and we've got all green. So now we'll switch to the PMDG 737 and launch the aircraft, and we should see that load. Okay, and now we are loading up the sim. And you can see let's go to the simulation phase. And notice there it'll say Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Notice we have the PMDG 737-800, and it's loading up the various components. This is still sitting here with all the lights on. All right, gonna hit say ready. And there we go. You can see I've got that set. Now the lights all went off. Okay, so now that we've got the PMDG loaded, our PAP 3, now the lights are off. So that's normal. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go up top here, and we're going to power it on. And as soon as we power this on with the ground power, so you can see right now it's off. As soon as we turn on the ground power, now you see the lights come on. And then up in our PMDG 737, there we go. We can see that everything matches up. Course is at 0, indicated airspeed's at 100. We got 269 on the heading as we do here. And then as you can see, if I switch this, say we want to go 210, you can see that I'm manipulating that right with the controls. Same with indicated airspeed. Maybe we want to be at V2, yeah, like, 144, whatever it would be. And you can do the course. So you can see all this is working with it along with the flight director. You can see that MA come on just like it does up here. If I turn that off, it'll both go out. Auto throttle arm. So it enables it. There, it's enabled there. If I want to turn that off, I can go back up and down and it'll turn it off. That's normal operation. Disengage. You can see that it goes up into the aircraft as well. So here we can do you can see these lights. There you go. So you can see the lights are lit up. Just as if you're up into the aircraft here. We're going to go ahead and disengage. We'll turn that light off, the command light off. And then you can see up here, the command light is off. And just like so. So great device, love it. It adds to the immersion and realism, bringing your simulation to the next level, friends.
So my initial impressions, the PAP 3, like the WINWING FCU and EFIS, is hands down one of the most immersive and authentic autopilot panels I've seen for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It nails the tactile feel, the lighting, and the realism that the 737 simmers are looking for. Oh, and one last thing. For the product being under $160 US, you can't beat it, friends. Now, if you like the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss any upcoming flights or hardware deep dives. Now, until next time, friends, blue skies, happy simming, and take care. SimFanatic signing off for now. We'll see you soon.